My colleague Aldrin Sampear is following the proceedings for us, and he joins us live from White River. Aldrin, good evening to you, and thank you for this. Let's begin with the charges that the 95 Libyans are facing.
Yeah, good evening, Chloe. There's only one charge for now. It is still the contravention of the Immigration Act. And remember, over the weekend also that statement that was issued by the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Leon Schreiber, that there was a misrepresentation on the application that was brought by the 95 in terms of the visa application. They were granted a visa for study purposes. And according to the information that we had received was that for security study purposes, security training. However, the SIRA investigation, the police's investigation has indicated that they've actually gone a step further. So for now, the only charge that they face is the contravention of the Immigration Act and the decision that was taken by the NPA to go ahead with the prosecution. And that's the reason why we had the 94 initially that were appearing. And at a later stage, there was one other accused who appeared a bit later on before the magistrates court here in White River. The NPA are saying that they are not ruling out the possibility of more charges being brought, whereas the police on the other end are saying they're not ruling out the possibility of more charges being brought, but also more accused being brought into this case as well. And this is specifically on the aspect around the owners of the farm. Yet again, I reached out to them a bit earlier on this evening, and the operational manager said that yes, they have been promising that a statement will be coming out. So the statement will actually be coming out. He promised that it will be coming out tomorrow from the company. One of the company representatives was actually here in court as well. He didn't want to speak to the media, unfortunately. He doesn't have the go-ahead from the company to speak to the media, but he was also here in court to follow the proceedings.
Aldrin, a little earlier, you had a conversation with the Portfolio Committee Chair on Police in Parliament, and that's Ian Cameron, and he is clear that it's unacceptable that this suspected military camp was operational in the first place. So it brings about the question as to who dropped the ball. You are talking about them facing charges relating to misrepresentation on their visas. That tells me Home Affairs could possibly have to answer here. Who exactly would have dropped the ball here?
Yeah, and that's the investigation, and what the investigation is going to reveal. Where exactly was the ball dropped? They made the application in Tunisia, in Tunis, for those visas, the study visas, which of course they were granted. The aspect that also needs investigation is how the security company went against the accreditation that they received from SIRA, in that they are not allowed to be giving the type of training that they were giving these particular individuals. SIRA again issued a statement yesterday indicating that the company will still be investigated, but the decision that was taken was that they should be shut down, the program should be shut down. In the background there, that's the trucks that the individuals from Libya are leaving in currently. They will remain in holding cells up until Monday, but earlier on they were at the White River police station where they were being kept, because there was also this issue around the logistics of it. Remember that you have 95 accused, and at some point the prosecutor was saying there's no way that you'll be able to fit 95 people inside that particular courtroom. But it seems that a decision was then later on taken that let's rather go ahead with their court appearance. And it was, of course, a brief court appearance, although they had to call out each individual from 1 up until 94, and 95, as we've indicated, came out a bit later on to join the crew. I just want to say as well, Goli, when we spoke to some of these individuals, through Google Translate, of course, they are denying these allegations that are being leveled against them. They insist that they were not being trained in military. However, though, they were being trained in security services. A businessman who operates in the gold sector was a person who had recruited them and asked them to come to South Africa, where they will be trained by the Militars D Academy.
Finally, Aldrin, the community within which they were clearly housed, what are people saying there? I listened to your earlier crossing, painting somewhat of a friendly relationship between the Libyan nationals and the community there in White River?
Yeah, and I guess with that particular one, Xoli, it depends on who you really speak to. And most of the people that we spoke to last night, they were describing a friendly group, and before they used to call them also Zara, and that is because they were selling their clothes to community members at a very, very cheap price just to buy food or sometimes buy cigarettes, as well as dacha, which is one of the other parts of the investigations that the police are busy with currently, and also cigarettes. But then you speak to other individuals, for instance, Sanko, that said that they were assisting some community members in the area who have complained that they have been assaulted by men that they describe as either white or Indian, and now we understand that those are the 95 Libyans. And they're also saying that they started seeing them since around about April, May, during that period of the elections. And then they started frequenting the area. A bit later on, in a package that we're going to try and put together, we'll show you visuals of these individuals being part of this community in a tavern, and all jovial and jolly, and dancing with some of these community members. And some of these community members actually know them, even though they refer to them as Zara. They don't know them by name, though.
Newzroom Afrika anchor Aldrin Sampear live for us in White River, that's in Mpumalanga.